Welcome to episode 7 of MX5 Diary. I'm Steve, and in this episode I'm going to be exploring the extremes of the car's fuel efficiency. I'll be telling you how I fitted this spoiler at the rear of my car, plus I have some important information about this channel which I'll tell you at the end of the episode. So let's get on with it. Over to me, inside somewhere. Hello, I'm inside somewhere. I'm going to be talking about fuel efficiency. And to give myself some sense of credibility, I'm going to use a whiteboard and draw lines and stuff. By the way, because MPG is different in the UK compared to other countries, I'm going to be using litres per 100 kilometres. Now, since I've owned my car, my average has been about 9.17. On motorways, I'm getting 6.5. And urban around town, I'm getting 10.5. And those different numbers got me thinking, what might happen if I drove differently? What are the highest and lowest numbers I could possibly get? So I've set up 3 experiments to see how driving style can affect fuel efficiency. And that led me to some very interesting research, which appears to show a correlation between driving style and the hats people wear. Wearing a hat in a convertible is completely normal. I wear a variety of hats which I change depending on the weather. But apparently some hats and the way they're worn can affect your ability to drive. So I'm going to run 3 experiments, all taking the same route to a nearby supermarket to see how it affects fuel efficiency. For experiment 1, I'm going to be wearing this, a straw hat with the roof up. According to the research, wearing this type of hat, the same applies to fedoras, pork pie hats and fisherman's hats, whilst technically legal, it will affect my ability to use the car's controls. For example, the car's indicators. Wearing this type of hat with the roof up, the only possible explanation can be to eliminate any aspects of fun, to save fuel and therefore money. Probably to be able to buy lots and lots of cat food and buy more newspapers to support a hoarding addiction. So this experiment is all about extreme fuel efficiency. Right, let's go shopping and not spend much money. Okay, I've got my shopping coupons, my hat, I'm dry. It's experiment 2 with a fisherman's hat. And this time I've got the roof off, which makes it a completely different ball game. Having the roof off is far too much fun to be efficient, and yet wearing this hat will still affect my ability to use the car's controls, probably the gears. So whilst I'll be keeping within the speed limit, I will be in the wrong gear, probably first, thus thrashing the nuts off the engine. So this experiment is all about what's the worst fuel efficiency I can get. And so for that, I need to load the car. Right, can you get in the car please? Thank you. For the duration of the trip, you're called ballast.
Why?
Doesn't matter. Finally, experiment 3, and this requires another hat change, this time the baseball cap. And this is where it gets complicated, because it's not just a case of wearing the hat, it's how you wear it that matters. Now, I'm no expert on this, so I've done more reading on this than on anything else, but it appears there are 4 main hat positions. Firstly, with the brim of the cap at the front. It's traditional, it's conventional, it's saying I'm a safe pair of hands, I know what I'm doing. Then we move it around to the side. Now there are some conflicting thoughts as to whether moving it to the left or the right makes a difference. We're going to ignore that for now. As we move it around to the side, you would have noticed that we passed this position. This is not really a position. This is I was wearing my hat correctly and then a kid kicked a ball in my face position. So we'll ignore that. We go to the side, and this is sometimes referred to as the numpty, doofus or the Bieber. We come round to here. This is for people who want to be unique. It's not. And then carry on round to full on thug. Now the thug and the not really unique make it hard to drive. So for the sake of this experiment, we're going to be going with the numpty. The music really is important for the tunes are really important for this one. Not only the tab in it, but also the volume. Actually, this is really uncomfortable. Let's do the shopping, man. Respect. Okay. Put it into gear, turn on radio 4. Here we go.
shared, sometimes with millions or billions of others.
Oh damn it, I left the air conditioning on.
I'm not going to try to explain why identity
What time do the shops close?
through my lifetime.
Heat seaters on full, air conditioning on full. Are you ready?
No.
Right. Sorry.
Over the shared practices and the communities that buttress religious life. We all know that
Sorry.
orthodoxy comes from the Greek word.
Come on, jog on, man.
This is so embarrassing.
But there's a less familiar word.
I mustn't stop suddenly.
Which comes from
Move out of the way,
Greek word,
please.
Praxis, which means action. So
Using the brakes
orthodoxy
unnecessarily
matter
is a
not of
fuel
believing,
efficiency crime.
but of
Right, that's the end. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's low.
acting right.
Here we are.
So consider again our
At the shop.
Alexandrian Jews.
I've got the results and no accidents. Oh dear. Well, that was well easy, man. And it looks like I've got some quite interesting results. But before I talk about those, here's a quick video on how I installed a spoiler onto my car. I bought the spoiler from MX5parts.co.uk. It's a genuine part from Mazda. It cost about £200 and arrived within a couple of weeks. It comes with instructions and the whole installation process took me about 2 hours. Most of that time was spent checking and double checking to make sure I got everything in the correct position. You can't rush that bit. I started by covering the boot compartment with a cloth and removing the hole plugs on the left and right hand sides. The kit comes with a paper template which I cut out with scissors. I taped the first part into position using some low tactile decorator's tape called frog tape, making sure to get the alignment perfect. There were then 2 further pieces which I cut out and temporarily fixed to the spoiler. I then offered up the spoiler to check the position. It took me a while to get all these pieces into a position I was happy with. As I said before, this is not something you want to rush. Then with the spoiler in position, I fixed the side pieces which had been temporarily fixed to the spoiler to the boot, and then removed the spoiler. It's on those side templates there's some marks, and it's there that I made some indentations onto the boot. I couldn't find my hole punch, so I used a countersink instead. I also cut the front line of the centre template and removed the part that goes under the spoiler. Next I drilled out 10mm holes where I made the marks. The instructions recommend starting with 3mm drill bit, then using a 6mm and then finally a 10mm. You don't have to use those exact sizes, just start small, use your sharpest drill bits and just get gradually larger until you end up at 10mm. I think I used 2mm, 5mm, 9mm and then finally 10mm. Now you've made the holes, remove the tape and ensure that no metal from the drilling is on the paintwork. Try not to rub it off. Those really tiny pieces of metal can create horrible scratches. I used an air cleaner called a Rocket, which I use for cleaning camera lenses. I then cleaned the area where the spoiler was going with some white spirit and made sure the area wasn't too cold. Fortunately for me, it was a warm day. The warmer the better, so the adhesive sticks well. I then installed the bolts to the underside of the spoiler, removed the first parts of the adhesive strips backing paper, placed the spoiler in position, being really careful to get it in the correct position, and then removed the rest of the backing tape and applied pressure. I then secured the spoiler with 2 nuts, reinstalled the hole plugs, and I swapped out the rubber stoppers for slightly longer ones that came with the spoiler. Job done. I'm really happy with the result and I think it sets off the car well. If you're going to do this yourself, don't rush it and try and do it on a warmish day or in a warm garage. Now to find out those fuel efficiency results. 3 experiments and 3 very different results. Let's plot these onto the graph of litres per 100 kilometres versus annoyance. Experiment 1 was the straw hat with the roof up, which got a staggering 5.97 litres per 100 kilometres. And given the lack of road signalling, it was quite annoying. So that goes here. And with better road conditions and even slower acceleration, it could be both more economical and more annoying. Going out in this direction. For experiment 2 with the fisherman's hat and a fully loaded car in only first gear, I got an impressively high 19.34, which is equivalent to 14.6 mpg in the UK. And I was at least as annoying as before. And again, with the right conditions, I think I could have got even more extreme results, both being even more annoying and getting worse fuel efficiency. And finally, experiment 3, the sideways baseball cap wearer. Now, I got quite variable results depending on the speed of music I was playing, so I had to run the experiment twice. I got 10.9 and 13.5, and judging by the looks I was getting from people, I was very annoying, way beyond the complete nuisance threshold. So if we plot that line, real science, real results, and I hope you'll agree, as experiments go, that's a big one. Over to me outside somewhere. So now you have some idea what fuel efficiency to expect from driving the new MX5. I said at the start of this episode I have some news about this channel. Well, really it's news about me which affects this channel. I've been made a tribe leader for Clarkson, Harron & May's new Drive Tribe starting soon. To be honest, I don't really know what that means, but I do know I won't stop making videos. It's just that they might be for Drive Tribe and not YouTube, but I'll keep you informed. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching and thank you for all your comments so far. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon, somewhere.